Let's see who tips off on these two very difficult maps to play into. Two very team-heavy maps as well. Your individual play may not be as strong inside of the series as we were seeing earlier today, such as we were getting out of some of the members from W7M. Felipak specifically having himself quite a ball game in at least two of those maps. Some of the other members of the team stepping up as well. First bans are coming in now. It's Oxygen to get the first and final ban, including this one, which is going to be Thatcher getting knocked out first. W7M has the next two, so let's see what they're going to choose to eliminate.
This is what both of these teams practice for, John. This is practically an elongated scrim day for them, as they've both already played one series here today, and they have to play this last best of three going on into the night. So let's see who's able to keep this candle lit. Hopefully not burn it at both ends. Flores is going to get removed here. The Thatcher off the board as well for the offensive unit. So going to make breaking up things a little bit more difficult, especially with Flores off the board. But how are you going to affect the defense?
Flores has been a common ban here. It makes perfect sense for W7M to ban it out as well, with Oxygen using it so heavily on maps like this. They themselves might not find as much usefulness from it, so don't mind banning it out there. Valkyrie's been a mainstay ban pretty much all day today, so no surprises there whatsoever, especially on a map that has as high vaulted ceilings as this. Just a lot of prop clutter on this map too, so it's very easy to hide those cameras pretty much anywhere, so you just don't want to be dealing with that, as that sometimes will force an IQ to come out, and that may not be what W7M or Oxygen want to have to deal with inside of their lineup. Azami gets so much power on this map as well, especially in areas like Cigar up on the third floor. She could be a huge menace and a massive time sink, if not an outright slayer in an individual position, so that as well will be our final ban to push us into round one.
Making quite a bit of sense when you look at what we've been going through over the last handful of months here for Siege. It's going to be a pretty potent ban phase here from both respective squads, like what we ended up seeing. But now we get down to the nitty-gritty details. It's going to be a reading room defense for the very first time here for Auctions. They'll lead us off on Kafe. Now, what will they bring to the table? They got the Wamai and the Jaeger, and Jaeger's actually got those obs blockers on, so they're trying to keep a little of info away from W7M on some of these angles that they will be creating. But as for W7M's camp, they got a lot of execute utility going into this round, and why wouldn't you, especially on this mid-floor site? This is something that can benefit you quite a bit. They will drop the Ying and add in the Habana, but they still have access to that Lion, which is going to be so very strong. Even switch over for the Dopey, still very similar circumstances, although hers a little bit easier to use with your team, where you don't really need the initial drone utility. You kind of roll its way in like you do with Lion, because you kind of want to make sure where people are first before you pop one of those EU1Ds. Well, there could be just calls, and there's a loud vibration coming from where the positioning of those players are. So a little bit easier to coordinate at the end of the day. We'll see how W7M go about that.
Slow measured start so far here for W7M. No one trying to leap into the fray first off, but it is also going to be a bit of an open formula with regards to what W7M can approach for on this. Hertz making some fast moves, but unfortunately the Dread Mine's blocking him off quite heavily. Has the angle to avoid getting immediately cut off from the inside of mining at least, so does avoid that eventuality. It's going to be slowed down a little bit. More importantly, Oxygen will be well aware of the fact that this push is coming into play very early on, already on a second floor landing for Red. Newers immediately rotates into that one, and unfortunately has to stay locked in this position now to wait for that potential swing to come from Hertz. Doesn't have to wait very long either. Hertz throws himself into it, but is not successful, so heads back upstairs to rejoin with some of his other teammates who are looking to get that additional red drop control. Still going to be some problems for Hertz, though. So we see that additional pressure coming in from Cigar. That player gets a little bit of a bite back, though. Fish, I believe, was the one that tried to push out from that position and ends up losing nearly all of his HP as well. He has been able to retreat, just as we saw Hertz do the same for the red stairs position, becoming, of course, inside of the bathrooms instead. So no success from either team on making that first initial mark. Obviously, this still plays a little bit more heavily into the favor of Oxygen. We'll have to see what type of positions W7M can build up to, as if Oxygen play too passively, obviously, that could just allow W7M to set up for one big swing, like we were seeing earlier on in the BDS series, where they could execute with nice prowess against some of these members of OXG. Run out there from Fox to try to catch someone over on White Top, and it just does not work out. Thankfully, he's allowed back in, even though there's a cross established from the inside the attacker-sided balcony. JB92 is finally able to strike first here, and it is against Newers. Took some aggression earlier over by Mining, so that's going to open up a pathway to push through. Red side Fish as well being challenged on the inside of here. He sees the Liliana, and nicely done with the patience against KZ as well. Gets it 2 for 1, still in the fight as well. That's Dream that's most recently been down there. Nay, however, with the pre-fire, puts an end to Fish. Knocks him out and prevents any additional damage from coming out from that player. It's down to Fox as well as Yagen out. try and lock this one down for Oxygen as W7M take the player count advantage once again by eliminating the most recent kill there on OXG.
Oxygen's already expended quite a bit of their utility here, though, so this dying moment of round one is going to be quite difficult. Gonna have to stick to the firepower. Hope the lead will work its way in. W7M, speaking of working its way in, will begin their way through the site. On the reading door side, JV92 with a nice pickup onto Fox. It's all left up to Yog. Remember, no nitro cell here, so he's going to have to try and get this done with the SMG-11/shotgun. Nade's going to confirm this plant in just a moment, and that's going to be a nice little pick there from Yog as JV92 will reveal his head right from behind the shelving unit. Going to try and throw himself through 90 inside of red, but looks like the pillar may already be covered here by Habana. As Nade, I do believe, is actually waiting outside. Yes, indeed. So he's going to play this for the audio. Yog. Not even going to get an opportunity. Nade with a very, very smart peek there. He heard the footsteps over on the carpet and decided to peek him early so that he did not have that opportunity to try and do the same to him. W7M with the very first round.
Very slow process to lock in round number one, but W7M do battle their way into a winnable position there as Oxygen tries to play things out just a tad too aggressively. Kind of needed to be fair, as we were coming down to the wire there. They needed to get in the way of some of the setup that W7M was going for. Had some moderate success in that department. But as you're going to see, players like Nade here are already set up far too prominently to frag out here on the entry, limiting those refrag options for OXG. And ultimately allowing for W7M to take round number one. I'll lock that one, rather, OXG will not lock that side away. We are going to see a retry. It is going to be over here inside of mining instead, though, the second go of it. So OXG trying for a second floor hold here on round two again.
Cool. Same floor, a little bit of a different bomb site, though, as you said. Go over to mining. Try things out over here. He's going to be back onto one of his mainstay ops, operating Maestro. See how that goes here for this round. Finreal continuing to stick around for Newers here too. A couple new fresh faces to the rest of the operator lineup for Oxygen, so hopefully this provides some substance here for round two. We're able to at least punish W7M on a couple of different fronts in that last round, especially given the circumstances of Fish, but Oxygen not really able to get too much done past that. Now W7M with at least that first round. Big round from Nade, especially with not only the plant, but also 3 kills to his name.
Not going to be surprised if we see yours stick with the Federer for the large majority of this half as well. This is another map where, like, similarly to what we were describing with Valkyrie earlier, there's a lot of very cheeky spots you can hide those fear mines and kind of prevent an immediate assault from members of W7M there, just because there's a lot of those that are going to go unnoticed, hiding under a table or something like that. And it's going to get very annoying very quickly, making W7M check their corners. It's part of why we might have been seeing slow play, but now it's going to speed up a little bit here as Nade tries to hop up through the dining room hatch. He'll be stopped, but KZ will catch an exchange onto Fish. So once again, it's an even keel to start us off, as both teams will lose a player at the beginning of the round.
Well, shotgun on sledge. Something we see every once in a while. It's usually in a situation like this where you got some close quarters situations ahead of you, like the stairwells and some of these more encapsulated corridors. But he's going to be able to get rid of ticket window. They're transitioning this into a more slow-paced round, especially into that big pick onto Fish, but the trade coming back onto Nade. Halfway through this one, and W7M wanting to reassess this situation. Something that is definitely a hallmark of Kafe. Not something that we see W7M often do, though. At least from what we've been seeing throughout these other games that they had been playing. Very free-flowing, very quick play, and always looking to try and gather that next step. They do definitely want to make sure that Oxygen do not blow them sky high here on this map. So that second level is going to be of the utmost importance to Oxygen's game plan in this basement rotation here from these two.
Oxygen is playing it hyper passively right now. They made the mistake of getting a little bit too in the face of W7M on the last run, so now they're going to let W7M set up themselves and hopefully make their own series of mistakes that OXG can capitalize on. Dream gets a little bit into the hot zone there as he drops about 2/3 of his HP, but still managed to survive the encounter ultimately. KZ also trying to work the angle from the second floor white landing. He's not able to find any silhouettes just yet on the side of OXG. A few other members of W7M going to start posturing from red side as well, so that crunch is going to be coming in sooner rather than later. But as you can see, OXG spread out. Going to try and surprise a few members of W7M and may very well be able to do so against Herds here. We've got another player. Here he is, yours, right at the bottom of red. waiting for this push to come through from Herds. Now, Herds, I don't believe, has any flank watch support for him, so it should be a free pickup if it's not noticed. However, smart check. Herds is going to pop downstairs here and immediately lock the headshot against yours. Plan at least started there for KZ, but he does have to hop off it after some delay. Yaga will, in fact, take down Herds on a trade. There's that shotgun sledge working out for FelipePox as he picks up a kill, but the problem is, as you just saw there flashing on the feed, Yaga's got a triple. He's shut down the assault outright and is not really going to leave a whole lot of room. Okay, never mind. Maybe a little bit of room will be left here for FelipePox. Tries to go for one of the final pickups as well, but time just a little bit too short here due to the lost players on the assault. It's a trade from Oxygen as we tie up at 1-1.
Tying things up with that second round. A little bit better showing from them, and we like the decision to try and slow down the play. I think W7M has to try and process the map a little bit more than punish them for that. Works out swimmingly for them as we're going to roll through that last round there for you folks. Oxygen able to find at least some footing for now here on Kafe, and that's going to be of the utmost importance, especially when it comes to this halftime.
10 seconds left.
To round 3, we are going to go here. Once again, going to be centered, looks like on the second floor once again. If that's the case, Oxygen refusing to move away from this one. To be fair, these are the sites that give them the most flexibility with regards to positioning. I think they're just going to rebound over to this one now, seeing as they just locked away. Mining, of course, they already played into this specific site on round 1, and it was a relatively closely traded affair. Like I said before, they just kind of overextended their hand a little bit when it came to how they were trying to play out for initial frags. So they cooled their jets, played a bit more similar to how round 2 went. They're probably thinking they can lock this one down as well and then move to the other sites.
Attackers must locate and defuse the bomb.
A similar operator lineup to what we had been seeing from Oxygen on this previous defense. And Newer's back on the Thorn there. Dream onto the Frost. We saw from him on that top floor in round 1. See if Fish can get something going on inside of Pixel here too. That's where he got his big 2K. Only 2 kills he's gotten so far in this game. Round 3 could be the difference maker though. Izzy and the rest of W7M for the most part. To the roof, to the sky. Try and get rid of some of these hatches. Make play a little bit easier for them. You have to be aware of these frost mats, as well as some of these hop outs can come through on the blacktop side, but obviously have the air jobs in play to make things a little bit more difficult for Oxygen to try and hop out of the building. Well, it's definitely a Kafe game. There is nothing happening.
Yeah,
everybody is droning.
We were mentioning this earlier about how we got Kafe and Skyscraper. Now it's going to be a really slow series to start out these rounds. And so far, we're pretty correct about this one. W7M at least chucking in a bit of utility, but Yaga throwing out his own and finding a bit more success, it seems, with his. Finds a nice landing on the Herds there. Knocks him down outright. Yana goes down before she's even able to really contribute here. Maybe one of the names getting utilized. Yours now picking up kill number 2 as well. Oxygen finding this aggressive swing, finding these aggressive swings a lot more prominently here on round number 3. Already making some improvements based on what we'd seen before. This is a huge fall from grace for W7M as well if it continues to be the case, given how they started out the day against BDS earlier.
Very, very true. Big pickups here on the W7M. Oxygen making their presence known on Kafe and definitely giving over the call sign that this is not going to be a walk in the park, is it, John? Able to at least collect one. We need to see Dream here trying to dance with the devil. Devil will win. JB92 takes out one. Fox8 fights back. Still a minute remaining here in this 2 versus 3. Fox8 trying to stand tall upstairs, but won't be able to get it done. A nice collapse here as FelipePox will be able to take him out from inside of Freezer. Case is still upstairs in this 2v2. Now got no nitro cell in his pocket, but I'm assuming they still have some of those razor blooms around on these doors.
Another very closely fought fight here for the library site back down on the second floor. Neither team really able to get a massive advantage built up. JB92 ready to go for a swing, but does he know that Newers is sitting right around this corner? It's going to have to be an immediate face check against him if he tries to swing this doorway. Newers knows it too. He's heard the drop. He's seen the smoke toss. It's quite obvious where this player is going to be at. It's just a matter of timing now. 15 seconds left. Someone's got to swing for it sooner rather than later. And they're just going to try to rotate through instead. But Yaga shuts that down from up on top, and Newers as well. Slaps the other player right into the face. Nice slow play again here from Oxygen. The passive route seems to be the correct one for them as they take the lead away here now 2-1.
You know, I bumped into Redeemer this morning in the lobby as well, and you know, I immediately asked him what the hell happened because the game that we casted only picked up 3 rounds up against BDS. And it's not exactly what you expect out of Oxygen. You at least expect them to be somewhat competitive, and that game was definitely not compelling in that sense. But this one...
Thank you for the freeze frame, by the way.
Most definitely so. Yeah, that was fantastic. That was a perfect freeze frame there on the Nitro cell. But Oxygen looking a lot better, and I think it goes to show exactly what Redeemer was talking about this morning, the fact that they really weren't trusting their defaults when they were playing against BDS. And today they're playing a lot more their style and not focusing nearly much you know, on adapting to what their opponents are doing, because that's what Redeemer was talking to me about, was that they were really too focused on adapting way too early on against BDS, and they never really tried to play their own game. They never actually attempted their own defaults. It was always something they were trying to do on the fly, and it just simply was not working. But you can see that Oxygen are set for war, at least for right now, on this defensive side for Kafe.
5 seconds to go.
Oxygen forging a path to the lead, it seems like here. We'll now have to see us for the first time, believe it or not. They've actually played second floor sites on the previous 3 rounds here. They're going to extend beyond that on the first floor site for the very first time inside of this half. So let's see if that will maybe boost the prowess we sometimes often see for these defensive-sided teams, or potentially expose a few more weaknesses. They're going to have to extend their positions out of it more as well. It's not as easy of a fallback plan to have everybody support each other inside in a late round there. You've got people that are pretty much going to be off on an island this entire round. Seeing now that Oxygen have decided to play this mainly horizontally, so that's going to be areas like Christmas downstairs, down the hall, of course, from the White Stairs entry point. Those players are going to have to lock themselves into a bunker, basically, and hope that they can survive for as long as possible, getting that minimal support, in that player's case, from Dream on the Echo around the corner at Whiskey Bar.
W7M working on the top floor here with the drone game right now. The transition in will come immediately at the 2-minute mark. Riyadh swinging in on Christmas. I have a couple of things to worry about when it comes to clearing still, but it actually seems like KZ has already cleared out this mid-floor as he will barge his way in through reading. So makes quite a bit of sense with that pacing, that they'll be very aware that there's no auction on this floor. This is going to allow Fleepox as well as the buck of KZ to open up a lot of this flooring on the mid-floor, making the job a heck of a lot harder for Oxygen to try and hold things down, especially with the lack of Newers.
Quiet right now after that elimination of Newers. No one else from Oxygen wanting to test the waters on the top-down angles here. JV92 with Overwatch to both Kochek as well as the bottom of Red here. Yaga very limited with regards to his aggressive options. He could have wrapped through Whiskey and try to pull something off, but there's a good possibility there's Overwatch established for that at this point too. Looking at it here, JV92 continues to excel, however, now he catches Fish on a rotate. Air Jab is going to knock down at least one player trying to get aggressive. I'm going to assume it's over here by the Whiskey Steps as KZ has got a good lock on this position right now, but as you can hear, there is still another Air Jab in the area there. As you heard the little pings going on in the background from KZ's POV. So not able to catch anyone off of that specific knock we got. It's still a slow wind up for the rest of W7M. They don't want to trip up. This is still a workable position for Oxygen, even given the fact they are down 2 players. They still have a lot of off-site kind of dangerous positions that could get directly in the face of this execute and get multi-kills if it's not checked properly. So that's what W7M is being cautious of right now, to really draw this timer down. Here we go, however, as they've finally been able to work their way in through Freezer. The plant will go down. Does not look like there's much of a way of disruption on that, and indeed that will be the case. Locked in for W7M, and there's not much, unfortunately, that OXG can do to get back into the site. They attempt to rework the second floor. Yaga immediately countered out from there, and the next 2 fall after that as well. It's a flawless pickup from W7M on the first assault on that first floor, and that'll immediately tie us up once more at 2-2.
Very strong bounce back there. One that was a necessity for W7M, but you can see why Oxygen was really trying to favor those mid-floor sites. Pretty strong for them. Able to at least pick up 2 rounds off of that, but now W7M, once Oxygen goes to something that they're not really too keen on, able to pick up their second offensive round. So quite tight-knit now. Makes me worry for what happens once W7M gets control of the defensive end.
Nice here. Nice reactions once again from JV92. He's keeping up the heat that he found inside of map number 3 of the BDS series earlier today. Some great pickups here to make sure that W7M lock in those wins and limiting the defensive options for OXG as much as humanly possible, as well as slow, methodical take exactly the way that they need to play this one out, given that Oxygen is also responding in kind on their defensive strategy here. So get another win here for our attackers, but we do get to go back to our OXG has found previous success, of course, here on the second floor. And a very heavy roam setup, as we had seen for the previous 3 rounds, is going to come along with that. Thorn's back in play for Norse. Fish as well over here once again on the ward. He's not the only one as well. Foxe on the Solus. This is a very mobile composition right now for OXG. We'll see if it'll find the success. It's a little bit lacking here so far with regards to OXG trying to take a definitive lead.
Gone fishing. On the windows here. Let's see what we can get done at 1.5, something we've talked about for quite some time. It comes down to it. Honest to God, something that just needs to be slapped on every single gun. Just give everybody access to all the sites, man. We won't have a problem. It's pretty simple. Anyways, but 1.5, Matt Warden, so very deadly, especially with those goggles. We really wanted to transition into anything too much just yet, but that's to be expected on a map like Kafe. It's going to be a lot of window play and a lot of action in the info game initially before we actually get down to the execute. This is a map that is absolutely fantastic to play, folks. Terrible to watch. Not exactly the greatest thing for the viewer experience, but definitely one when it comes down to strategical detail. It is quite intimate to Rainbow Six.
I'm out. Gotta reload.
JV92 down right now, and once again, Red's gonna try to capitalize on this as he moves forward, catches the ward, and unawares. That's the push that was working itself forward, so Fish drops down. Potentially gonna go for number 2 here in a second as well. The nade dank, however, is not aware of Yaga, swinging up from the bottom of White there. He sneaks away with a fast one, immediately retakes that position on the bottom landing of White. Bit risky here, the timing nearly working out for Fox, but he's a little late on the swing, unfortunately, so no trade to come in there. Yaga still maintains full control of VIP Cigar downstairs.
Indeed. And a fantastic position to hold on to as well. KZ continuing to open up the freezer space with the skeleton key. Does have one other person over inside of mining. He's going to try and influence that position a little as well, but you can see W7M, just due to this timing, having to make sure that they're aware of the situation on this mid-floor, but the delay from Auction on every single front is just eating at them. John picks that goon mine out of his ankle and tries to get back into this round for W7M, but Thorn trap there. I'm gonna destroy that. KZ will take down Fox too. Going secondary. Not exactly going to be too helpful for you there, KZ, but I like the spirit. So we'll swing into red.
He will fall back there indeed to make sure the reload goes off. Good early positioning maintained here from W7M, but again, it's really only to stabilize the 3v3. Now they got to force the issue into the site. They've got just enough positioning to make this work in mine,
No
but
way.
oh no!
Oh
They fumble on the cross.
Oh my
Nade swings
goodness.
right into his teammate's crosshair. Yaga now knocks out KZ. Fox is stuck in the plant animation now. Nothing he can do to get outside of this one. They'll shut him down. At least he sticks it there. But Yaga indeed will easily shut that one down, giving another second floor defensive round over to Oxygen.
All that build up with a Ying swing in, all for naught. Just immediately gets iced by his own teammate. Oxygen take the round because of it. That was looking like a W7M round, and they botched it on the execute. Something that you definitely do not want to do, especially on Kafe, like we were talking about. This entire map is just a build up to this moment, and then it just all goes so very wrong for W7M.
Grenade out!
This does not end up working out for them inside of the late round. Unfortunately, once again, that entry power from W7M, they're kind of waiting out the time a little bit here, hoping they can get the better of some of these players on Oxygen, but waited a bit too long this time, it seemed. Unfortunately, bait themselves right into the setup for the site. It goes the way of our defenders here from North America as they try to lock in the victory, lock in that position in the playoffs. Still a long way to go in that respect. We're still at the very beginning of this series. It's getting light here in Saudi Arabia, but today, one of these two teams needs to lock it down to move forward into our playoff stage tomorrow. And the other one, unfortunately, we're going to have to say goodbye to them. Not be able to proceed forward past the groups. Quite a few repicks coming in here for W7M as well. First time we're going to see third floor play come out from Oxygen, so it makes sense. W7M may have not been expecting this one. First time left to go up against it, but they do have a pretty straightforward composition with regards to attacking this site. The main switch up that they've gone for here just to addendum this third floor play is going to be JV92, of course, going over to the Captain's house. They have those extra micro smokes to deploy in specific positions such as Cocktail to prevent those angles from being useful.
Nothing too much to find just yet. Only 30 seconds in though. Just trying to influence some of the doors. Let's not do this again, boys. All right, let's just slow down. Don't know if you guys know this, but that's called flagging. You don't aim your barrel at other people, John. It's a real life thing. Don't do that. The fire range instructor will come over and beat your ass.
I don't know if
I've seen it. And then you're gonna get kicked out. So not flag people with the barrel of your gun. We saw that in the last round too. That's the perfect example right there. Fleetpox will be able to land on Dream with that frag grenade, but that really wasn't that big of an ask. I mean, they more than likely knew exactly where he was playing because he was playing in the exact same spot as he was last time. I do believe he was over inside of Cocktail.
That's also the spot he's played for like 3 rounds, years now in the specific maps. So.
I mean, that's like one of the best spots.
It's one of the newest default spots we play with.
Oh.
All right, folks. So not entirely sure what happened there. We'll get some context in a moment. We're not going to penalize them for that. It's unfortunate for W7M, but it's just the way the game goes sometimes. So we are going to completely rerun that round. Let's get ourselves into it as we'll resume at that 2-3 score line at the tail end of the first half.
One round to rule them all, John. So wrapping things up on this defensive side for Oxygen, an opportunity for them to go 4-2 on this half, but W7M can still tie things up as well. It's going to be a bar cocktail defense. Really interested to see how they're going to set this up. Foxe is going to be on pole, so we're going to have some info game in that regard. Newers is going to move his way on over to the cap can. Everything else pretty plain Jane, especially with the Jaeger and the Lamai moving in.
A few surprises to be shown up here. The pulse is going to be added for Foxe, though, which is going to be a nice little bit of intel going the way of the defenders. It's something that has been missing a little bit here just due to the very slow play that W7M has been giving us in response to the equally kind of slow defenses that Oxygen has been bringing to bear. So as a result of that one, hopefully should be able to...
All because of the equally slow map that we are playing on.
It's hopefully going to allow Oxygen to get some kind of, some earlier intel here to allow them to more properly set up against the eventual push, but that's going to rely on Foxe being in the proper position to spot those players in the first place. Vertically, it's not too much of a challenge for him, but if he's trying to find people on the other side of the building, for instance, or on a horizontal plane, that's where the info is probably going to drop off a little bit. So we'll see how effective it actually is over the course of this round. W7M, of course, now spawned out. Let's see what they have to give us here, as they're going to bring a very similar flare to the last time they attacked this site as well. The new wrinkle, I believe, being the Ying here on top of the Capitale that was also brought previously.
W7M getting their ducks in a row here, Johnny boy. Try and work things from this top angle. I know you're very, very surprised, but also trying to get those drones in on the mid floor and see what this roam game is. Foxe transitions in towards bar, just checking to see who is on the roof and what position. A nitro cell can be sent at a moment's notice, as they do have 3 of them, so Foxe can kind of just do whatever the hell he really wants to with his. As long as he's able to read onto the position of W7M when they're going for something like a plant or a clear, and the other ones can use their nitro cells accordingly too. Fish is going to be prone here on the window, awaiting the arrival of anyone on the heaven space. Burns will try and get that eaten up, but all the ADSs will not only eat up the gun 6, but oh my, Dream just walks right into Herd's gun and just dies on one of the cocktail windows. I'm very surprised by that.
Thought he could pull a fast one there to do the kind of awkward positioning he had on top of that cocktail bar, but no, great trades from Herds. He follows him right and really takes him down. And like Stokes said, a bit surprising, he actually pops out there in the first place. Either way, though, gives the opening kill over to W7M. It's not one that members of Oxygen are going to find an easy chance to exchange upon here. They'll have to potentially take a risk or a peek. Find that one here. And if there's just as strong of a chance, as we're seeing here right now, for Fleetpox or someone else to make their mark. Nice spin from Fish, however, as he gets the better of Nade instead, takes him down. Speaking of nades, Fleetpox got one here, hopefully to finish off Fish, and indeed it will. Just in case they had a second player peeking back into there as well, KZ was the one that dropped himself into that new hatch, just to double down on Fish to make sure he was not going to be able to get away with anything. Oxygen back down a player, unfortunately for them here, as a result of that pickup against Fish, as he was unfortunately locked in that position.
Taking point. Don't follow.
W7M. So far, so good on their clear. Newers, though, finally able to answer the call. This will take down KZ. We're not having to deal with these EDDs all too much so far throughout this round. I don't exactly know where he set the majority of those up, but I can tell you Foxe's importance in this round cannot be understated, as he is telling them exactly how Fleetpox is clearing out through this. Going to drop in. Yag will be able to take out one. Positioning still being fed back. Yag is going to kill himself with an impact somehow. For some reason, Oxygen are cursed in this round, man. It's just constantly going back the way of W7M, even though Oxygen have done practically everything right thus far. They're still going to get the round just because because Newers is so dang good. Yog's laughing at it. I guess he ended up just like smacking a lip of like a table or something with that impact and killing himself, at least from the hand gestures.
So nicely played by them. That'll still leave them in control of the situation, switching sides now with the 2-round lead in their favor. W7M not going to be happy about that. We'll have to work very quickly to try and change up the status quo here. And we'll see if they try to change with the pacing as well. Not going over to the defensive side. It is, again, Kafe, so you do have to give a lot of respect over to those attackers. There's limited options if W7M want to try to play in the face of OXG. So we'll have to wait and see how OXG themselves try to play into this first few rounds of their attacking side to get a better picture of that. But not what W7M would have wanted to start out the series here, going down 2-4. It is on the favor of the defensive side, so that's somewhat expected, but it's going to be a bit more evenly matched.
Yep. W7M are more than likely going to play into the utility game, like similar circumstances to what Auction was playing, right? That's what Kafe kind of demands of you. But the key thing is that we're really going to want to see them use their aggression, maybe some spawn peaks and stuff at very key moments. They don't want to try and get on the accelerator too quickly here, but there's definitely going to be some key times where W7M can throw a curveball at Oxygen that could end up being the big round maker. So to see how this goes for round 7 is so far so good. Really like the strategy that we're seeing out of W7M. We've got the laser gates as well as the castle barricades to break up lines of sight as well as delay some throwable utility from coming in. And speaking of throwable utility, we got more Wamai and Jaeger here too. And traps just to simply toss in right on the tail end. Nade's actually going to be rocking the shotgun here, so not the 1.5 on the Uzi, but still will have those traps to lay around to be a nuisance for Auction attempting to clear.
So it's a fast clear here from Newers in the first floor. He's not going to be alone, as you can see the Nook promptly behind him. The swing positioning is there, but he felt that Philippak's going to be looking back at him. Originally he wasn't, now he is, as he falls back into the depths of Library instead, not wanting the heat that's going to come from this outside pillar position. Way too easy for him to get shot in the back from hell there, so does not try to push that avenue any further. He was given plenty of warning to it though, so is given plenty of room to fall back and get out of dodge. JB92 also still trying to work an angle from the 3rd floor here to penetrate through anyone that might try to rotate through that 2nd floor hallway. He's going to have problems of his own up here on the 3rd floor relatively soon. You can see KZ moving forward for the clear, while Newers, as well as Fish, still more than likely continue to clear out the rest of that 2nd floor.
They're trying to find Newers as prey. They know he's right around this wall. That's so very easy. Philippak's apparently not hearing the drone. Did end up working its way through that drone hole. Great identification of Philippak's location. Able to pick up that frag because of it. Now for W7M, down a player halfway through this round. Oxygen's clear is going swimmingly, but as to be expected, it is also taking some time. Working their way through this map. Nade going to continue to hold things down on this hatch inside of Hut. Making sure nobody can rotate in down low through the red hallway. I see Newers continuing to try and break things up with a skeleton key too, but it's going to be W7M that find the next frag here.
It's Hurt specifically to pick it up inside of Cocktail. A little denial on the drone as they try to chuck one up to the window. That does reconfirm that he's still there at a minimum here, so we can see Fish going to try to wind up for a nade onto that position. Could be a winner, but does he have the right read? Not looking likely right now. Hurt still takes a good amount of heat from it as he's dropped to about 50 HP. That's because he stands kind of out in the open in the middle there. What's important is he avoids the outright death. However, not forever, though. Still ends up going down. Could have tried to retreat back over into the top of the light for a little bit more safety. That's what he's done now, of course, to get revived. But so the damage has come through, and of course, he's not going to be getting the rest of that 80 HP back. He'll be very minimalistic with regards to his aggression through the rest of this round. Fish as well, lurking up towards the top.
Do it to him, Fish.
He's got a player in front, but I'm not sure if he knows it just yet. And meanwhile, Nade's dropped down the hatch. He's going to surprise on the players by Red here, and nicely played with the shotgun. Gets the better of Yaga. Fish re-rotates through towards New Balcony here and picks up a trade to that, but KZ also holds the line for the defense.
He
picks up not just 1, but 2 here. Foxe trying to bait out Nade, but has to go a bit too close for it to happen, so Nade locks in the kill instead. It's going to be still a very close matchup here as we get deeper into the second half. Already, W7M bringing it within 1 round of a tie here at 3-4.
Fantastic from W7M there. Simply because they were able to keep enough loose ends where Oxygen couldn't simply tie them up and finish out the round. They were trying to build themselves up to actually get onto the site, but there were so many different things happening around the map that were giving him some very, very serious grief. You can see Redeemer already having something to say about this offensive side because that looked like a round that was most definitely Oxygen's. It was just that W7M threw a spanner in the works.
Launching drone. Drop the bomb diffuser.
Replace here once again. Nade making great work of that Thorn shotgun. Not one we see brought out all that often, but when you have a staircase or another very tight angle to work around, this shotgun can certainly sing alongside of some other ones as well, such as like Ella's Evo 12. There's some great usefulness inside of those very specific scenarios. Great job from Nade to capitalize on that one and pick up 2 kills over the course of the round with it. Brings them right back into the fold here. Gets us out of quick timeout, I believe we just went for as well.
Indeed.
Will send us into round 8. Whose timeout was that?
That was Auction's timeout.
Okay, it makes sense.
Yep. Redeemer immediately wanted to talk to them after they got that nice little opener there, and then just ended up stagnating mid-round. At W7M were able to keep those loose ends I was talking about. Made it just way too complex. The Rubik's Cube was not solvable, John.
So we'll hope this timeout yields results here. Good that they end up taking it directly before they end up losing the lead here, so they have hopefully a chance for a rebound. But if this advice falls on deaf ears or is otherwise ineffective, it's going to be very bad news here, as they will not have a second chance to call for that timeout here. It has to come from W7M. And obviously, if they're winning rounds, they really don't have much more reason to call for one. So that'd be a pretty far cry if we ended up getting one. Away from that, though, a fairly straightforward defensive lineup going to come in from W7M here as they try to defend the second floor now. Capcan Traps, really the only new wrinkle that we hadn't seen too much used by Oxygen just as of yet in the previous half. Everything else is somewhat expected, even the Goyo canisters here from JV92.
They're rocking the TCSG, too. Let's see if this can help them out with some of these longer distance gunfights, as it is going to be one of the big weapons at their disposal in this round. Birds also have that 1.5 on Capcan too, so see how that works out for him. Continue back into this round. Ops blockers in for KZ. Auction straight to the roof yet again here. Has to be expected for Kafe. Always going to start top down. Doesn't really matter what the site is. Want to make sure you can clear things out, just because this thing is stacked on top of itself through and through, which means you can get triple floor angles, John. You can open things up very wide on Kafe. Things pretty interesting, so definitely something that you just want to be aware of is the positioning of the players across the map, is they can be a lot more volatile for your execution later on down the line if you want to try and go around them.
No definitive control to lead them into the site just yet, but that's also only the first minute being used so far here, so plenty of time for them still to build it up. Yaga is going to try to go just for the angle onto white right here. As you can see from the silhouettes, not much of a challenge is going to come from that. I think he actually got a piece of utility by a random shot there further down the white hallway, so at least has to deal with that a little bit. And then meanwhile, the nades moving forward here pop open any possibility of someone from W7M trying to hide on the inside of that cigar closet. The hatch is already open as well. They knew it was going to be a possible rotation point just based on the way that the Thorn had played it in the previous round. They don't want to take a chance of that issue popping up twice here, so double down to make sure that that is open beforehand this time. Norris with a clean take over by the inside of Cigar. Able to get that without too much conflict, as W7M are focusing, as you might expect with this site hold, over on the cocktail side of the third floor right now.
Well, we're almost at the fun part. Waiting for that last minute. Exactly what you'd expect out of Kafe. No real top clear from Auction, though. That's my big problem right now. There's no verticality working into this. They're going to have a chance to potentially get a plant down over inside of Dining, but they really need some frags going their way. They'll start to open up some lines of sight to try and assist themselves throughout the sites. JV92 grabbing a pretty cheeky angle here as he'll prone things out on red stairs. Looks like he might just start working himself forward here. Moment by moment. Oh no, is this it? Is this the big moment? He's gonna swing in. Oh, Dream gets him! Oh my! What a read from him. Is he able to check it out? But Newers is actually gonna end up getting downed. Remember, that case is in Dream's hands. Foxy's gonna take down one, and they'll be able to at least get one other for Fleepox and W7M. It's 3 versus 3, and 3 versus 2 with that down. Hurts. Yet again, another loose end, John. So he will run right up brown stairs, and he will be able to take down the last 3 members. 1 cap can trap, 2 die to the SMG. And the hollow on that. Forgot they took the 1.5 off that a little while ago. But either way, still a fantastic gun, fantastic operator across the board. And, well, shows you exactly why. Those traps, quite the nuisance in those crunch times.
All it needs is to knock out 1 or 2 players to get that effective kind of style of play in, and the fact that he's got the very useful AK to go along with it here makes him a very effective operator, in my opinion, on maps like this, where you have so many positions where you could stack those Capcan traps and find at least one potential free kill in a low time scenario, as we saw in the case of Viewers there back on the previous round. W7M complete the tie as soon as they are able to. Moving into the second half, we are immediately locked at that 4-4 scoreline, and now we move down onto the first floor for the third round here on W7M's defense, and their first chance to take the lead away from Oxygen and start getting some control further into this series. That is going to cause some repicks over on the OXG side, originally giving us a pretty default lineup for Kafe overall. They've kind of specialized it a bit more for the kitchen tank, and you guys are going to see that here now. The Osa getting swapped in, the Buck as well instead of the Sledge, just to work things from the bottom to the top if that should become necessary. Potentially having that secondary hard breach might become slightly useful too if he is going to bring it, and indeed he is. It's more of an insurance policy though. They've left the hatch open. There is a wall breach on Freezer, so that could be useful for that. Maybe, you know, opening up Bakery. Depends on the way that Oxygen want to take this site, of course, but we'll find out more about that over the next 30 to 40 seconds here when they start to take up initial positioning.
Well, if there's one person that you really want to be feeling for right now, it's probably Redeemer. Probably a fuming moment here for him after that timeout. Immediately, practically the same thing happening. Loose ends just around the map, able to really do whatever they want because Oxygen has no idea what they're actually up to. Now, that is obviously quite a tall task when it comes to Kafe, but something that you expect out of a pro team. Oxygen are getting befuddled by it. As of right now, oh, KZ, you got the lineup too there, Johnny. Almost able to get that one to go. Nobody occupying the window at the time.
W7M continuing to hold
Yo,
back.
you good, Yog?
Yeah. He's having a rough night, apparently. Yes, he's coughing it out there.
Me at 2 a.m. when I wake up for the water.
Me in a dry climate, yeah. No, he got a little bit, for anyone what was causing that cough, he just got a little bit too close to the fear mine there, and I think it was just a residual effect from another character. The line for Newers is there, but KZ has the better shot to knock him down instead. Newers falters yet again. KZ, he's getting adventurous too. He's gonna go exploring here, looking for a pickup, and it's free on Foxe. Doesn't expect the double down on top white. Kill number 3 could be in the cards as well. There is another member lurking around this third floor. KZ does not seem to have the greatest amount of intel about where that player is, but he's playing it correctly right now. Oh my goodness, Oxygen down to just a single drone right now. This explains why there's been a sudden stoppage of any and all map control take from Oxygen. They just can't do it. They have no intel to play off of here, so it turns into what you might expect in that sort of situation. A flawless round from W7M as they know they have full control over the map mostly still and can do pretty much whatever the heck they want there.
Yeah, snap, crackle, pop, W7M's making Rice Krispies, baby. It's happening. It's happening fast. And you can see just how volatile Solus is. I mean, we were not on her POV that entire time. You look up to the top right at a minute 30,
like
there's
drones.
One active drone, the rest are dead. They're all gone. And there's no way for Oxygen to really do much. Redeemer looks like a disappointed father. Anyways, I mean, you gotta feel for him, man, because Oxygen right now, they just can't hold a candle to these W7M defenses. They're constantly able to get these big round-winning moments, and also just call these audibles that Oxygen aren't even ready for. There wasn't even a cam watching the top of white, but obviously we kind of got the details as to why that was happening. The cams were practically already dead, but that also means they're probably used around a lot of soft utility, and with the Solus on the board, you're probably going to get punished for that. So, a little unfortunate for Oxygen, they didn't really have the ability to try and push themselves forward into the round. It looks like Yogg might have the idea, or rather Foxe with the operator lineup switch here for Yogg. Either way, somebody has the call for the Dokkaebi, and that is more than likely the smartest thing that they can do in this situation. They really need to get some utility that isn't just with drones. We also have that Yana in play too, so definitely have some opportunities here. And if you guys haven't seen this one, well, you see that left arm right there of our Rooney? Well, makes those windows pretty easy to punch now, doesn't it? Well, it'd help if Herds actually hit his shots, but
Herds moved a little bit too early there.
He had such an opportunity too. I mean, the guy is literally full sprint. Dream can't pull his gun up for practically like a whole second. So, little unfortunate there from Herds, but he will at least tag up Dream, who I feel so bad for throughout this tournament, by the way, because Dream has just been getting like the short end of the stick in every game I've watched.
Yeah, I know yesterday's game too, he got like naded like 2 rounds in a row, and like they were instant nades as well, so it wasn't even like he could have reacted to it or something like that, so I agree with that.
Yeah, the earlier thing that I think was also just him like accidentally smacking his spacebar and jumping into the window, and like just like stuff like that, where it's just like, that does not happen to Dream, man. He's such a talented support. It just seems like the world's out to get him right
Explains why he's being killed so early, though, because if you've seen, especially the earlier games he had in the NAL season a few months ago, he was an absolute menace if he's allowed to stay alive. So there's a very good possibility that W7M are like, okay, let's kind of hyper-target him, because to be fair, he does play in pretty default positions pretty often, so he is the one that you could kind of hunt down at the beginning of the round most easily, in my opinion.
now. Definitely agree with you on there, man. For sure. Big thing is about ISO in Siege is that you're never really guaranteed it, right?
Yeah.
Like you really have to try and play through the info game, and then you know whatever the world gives you, that's what you're gonna take. That's how things are. You know, you kill the Jaeger first, great. There's another person without a gun trying to kill you, and that's really what we're concerned about. But I definitely agree with you. I think, oh my goodness gracious,
Both on the rappel as well.
guys, we have air jabs, guys, air jabs exist, guys.
Number 3 could happen. He's got another
man.
player on rappel. It's a bit of a rougher angle because he'd have to spin around real quick when he runs out here, but he already did it once. Never mind. Keys does it
my
instead,
God.
and oh my goodness! Another hop out from a completely different part of the map. Keys does it from the inside of Mining Window. That is 2 runouts that both scored 2 kills each here on this round.
I literally can't.
Oxygen is falling to shreds, and we're only on map 1 here. KZ may very well get traded as he's brought down to a sliver of HP. Hey, we were talking about how Dream couldn't make it to the late round, and now, well, he's got his chance to shine here. At
There it is.
There's the finish on KZ, but we talked about him before. Was already down to about 1 HP. That one's not too surprising. Past this point, it's going to be rough, and indeed, he won't be able to push it any further than that. Map point on the board now for W7M.
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah.
That's like some head and hands disappointment. That's some you shouldn't see a professional roster just get bullied that way disappointment. Because, I mean, goddamn, guys. Like, 4 kills all on the same damn side of the building. I mean, what the hell are we doing?
They're not even like
It's not even anything special. And you know what's hilarious? It's literally what I talked about at the defensive end. I said there's going to be a moment where W7M does something aggressive, and it's happened twice already.
There you go.
Rotation up
Replays
white
for it.
stairs,
Boom.
and these 2 runouts
Boom.
that Oxygen just weren't ready for. By the way, you're playing against a Brazilian
we
team.
did it for
I
the
just want to
third
remind
floor,
you.
too. I just realized that.
This is a Brazilian squad. I just want to remind you about who you're playing against in case you were unaware.
So that's how he pulled it on them. As
Like-
they were kind of looking at that second floor mining window, but they did not expect a third floor player to jump out all of a sudden and leap on top of them from the top rope, taking 2 more players down, completely killing any odds of OXG coming back in that round.
Yeah, you guys better do some damn soul searching, man, because I'm going to tell you right now, map 2 is not going to be looking too hot for you if you're playing like this. Especially with this headspace. This is a full reset moment, John. This is really where we're going to see what this new team of Oxygen is made of. If they crumble right now, I mean, that might be a telltale sign of what comes for the future. Yes, this is the first big tournament for Fish, but I will say this, Fish hasn't been playing bad, man, and he's actually had some very key moments where he was doing a lot for this team.
It's not an individual problem.
No, it
It's
is
more of a
not.
team
It is not an
cohesion issue
individual
here for
problem.
Oxygen.
100%, my friend.
I don't think any of the individuals are really lacking too much inside of the games we've seen so far.
Dream's just been punished, and that's
Yeah.
really not his fault at the end of the day, like we were touching on. It's really just been the powers at P that have just, for some reason...
Yeah, Newers is hitting his shots as well when given the opportunity to. That's the big problem with him, is he's just not being put into a position where he can frag out, it seems like, in a lot of these rounds here, because he needs to kind of set himself up for at least that initial entry near the site. We're just not really seeing it get to that point. So it's really rough right now from Oxygen, as the strategies are just not coming together in the way that Redeemer or the rest of this roster would like to have happen.
Yeah, some of the natural positioning from him has also just been punished immediately. Like what we saw around White Stairs with that peek from Philippox is just took things completely over. Fish going to be able to recreate that exact moment as we talk about it, except on the red stairs, so that blood's going to blend in. Nobody's got to wash that out. JV92 able to take down Newers, and that's going to be the big issue. Fish, though, this is his time to shine, folks. This is the rookie. We know just how good Fish can be, and I'm here for it. All the way in Saudi Arabia. Let's get it going in Riyadh. Fish 4 and 5, looking to make things equal for himself, at least past 3 hosts. Remember, we did have one of those earlier on, so these stats not exactly true. To see what the total is later on here in the evening. Fish has slowed things down a bit, though, John, as we are approaching the halfway mark.
Chaka and the rest of Oxygen here trying to piece themselves back together from the current 4v4. As Fish has been able to maintain that third floor control, but he's going to attempt to swing himself forward here. pretty obvious thorn mine sitting in front of him, so we should be able to avoid that.
The most routine Ash play ever. Just crouch walk through.
Just
keep going. Why not? Oh, it's just a mirror window, Fish. Who cares? Just keep going.
There's actually no one on it, too, is the best part.
Unbeknownst to him, though. That's the scariest thing about it. Oh my
another
God,
one from her.
please.
He jumps out again. However, again, Yaga's able to make the push work.
Somebody kill this guy.
Hurts is still outside.
Oh my
Running
God.
all the way around towards White. Someone's got the window angle, but I don't think they're going to leap out to kill him. They're too focused on the site take right now. It's actually free on the 3rd floor. They have successfully overwhelmed that. But here's the problem. We're not on a 3rd floor take. We're on a 2nd floor take. That's only step like 2.5 achieved right there for OXG. We got a bit of a ways to go here. And we're only even on numbers. They have not taken a lead on the kills just yet.
I tell you I missed you. I missed you so much. You're a pretty funny guy, John. Pretty funny guy. W7M, opportunity to close it out here. Oxygen able to extend, but they have to know that someone's down low. This jig might be up. Rotation might be coming through. Does somebody have this covered, please, for the love of God? Yes, you do. Oxygen, they've got it. They've got the Overwatch. Fish, he's here for it. A triple kill. Nade, he's going to go upstairs. This would be the craziest round that I've seen from Nade. Quite some time here, but he's going to be looking the opposite way. Oxygen able to tie that one up. And finally, thinking a little bit outside the box, aware of what W7M was more than likely going to be doing. But here's the key thing, John. Did you notice? There was a yellow ping downstairs.
Yeah.
Drone intel. Big shocker, I know.
The alarm clock seems to have gone off for OXG at the end of that last round here as they wake up big time and give us a resounding round, one that we had really been missing throughout the entirety of this attacking half so far, but they're finally on the board with it with their first round in the half. We saw, of course, W7M go on their own tear to run right up onto map point. Still just one round to go for them, but this is it. This is their last chance to win it in regulation. Otherwise, we are going to go into overtime here on map number 1 to decide who gets the early lead.
And you can just see the impact on the top right. Look at how many drones are active for Oxygen there in comparison to when Solus was in play. There's 2 active drones and still 1 in the pocket. But the key factor here, Fish. 6 and 5, a triple kill for him on the round. When the world needed him most, John, he showed up. Well, we'll have to see if he can potentially do it again here on this, because, well, they need this OT.
It's important to know, too, that the stats here, specifically for Fish, and this applies to really everyone right now, is only going to be from the last, like 4 or 5-ish rounds.
It's a little bit more than that, because we rehosted it 3-1, 3-2?
Yeah, it was round 6.
It was round 5.
We were starting round 6
yes,
when we did it. So it's from round 6 onward right now that you're looking at the stats for. So that's still pretty good, considering that that's only 4 or 5 rounds total right now for Fish. So really good stuff on his regard, but to wait and see what else he can cook up here.
One of my favorite plays of all time, bro.
Herd's just waiting for the timing.
All you have to do is listen for that hook. Ready?
Like a fish out of water.
As soon as you hear that climb animation, you are dead as hell. It don't matter what you do, man. All you get to do is stand by and watch. Oh, Fox.
Just reels him in. Fox8 goes down.
Hook, line, sinker. It'd been funnier if it was Fish.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that would have worked out really good. But
I made a Gone Fishing reference earlier when he was peeking outside the windows in Christmas.
Full bag of Fox as well. It's just as good. Let's see, of course, what other problems, more importantly, that'll create for Oxygen here. They lose the buck on top of that. They don't have a sledge for backup either, so that is also going to cause them to move at a complete lack of hard breach. That's not the end of the world. It's more so the buck utility that's going to be missing right now because they can't pepper up the dining room or any of these floors that you're looking at right now, and they really kind of need to do that for a proper attack downstairs. That's going to be a big issue for them, seeing as they also don't have another operator with breaching charges to make up for it right now.
Yeah, if I watch Oxygen go out on this round because of the oldest play in the Kafe book, I don't even know what to say about that. That play has been happening since year 1.
Well, I mean, we can correct ourselves a little bit. Fish at least has the secondary shotgun, so they can do a little bit of the top down.
Yeah, they can. They have a little bit of work that they can potentially do, but the biggest issue right now is that they don't have like a real chance to try and open this up quickly.
Yeah,
and really have that surprising
take too long.
factor. Exactly. And a lot of this dedication from Fish is going to be on that mid floor where they can have influence when he's opening these things.
And he's dead now, so he can't do it.
Yeah, that was the big issue. And the same thing with Sledge, with him being a 3-armor 1-speed now. I mean, when you're working verticality in Siege, it is extremely hostile. And we see that yet again here from Oxygen. They cannot find a way in on this base floor.
Herd's finally taking the first big bit of damage for W7M on this round, but he survives, more importantly here. And no, they haven't even dealt with this extension here from KZ on the inside of Bakery. KZ gonna be put into the hot seat a little bit, but Nate also swinging out from Prep to support. A flawless round from W7M as they slam themselves into the faces of Auction to shut them down one final time and lock in victory at the bitter end of regulation. 7-5 in this team's favor as they take the 1-0 lead in the series with Skyscraper now on deck.